Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day, and welcome to a complete Lemuria gear guide. So basically, I encountered a glitch that made me do the final boss of Lemuria many times, and I ended up just getting a lot of gear. So I thought, you know, if anyone's curious about the best gear in Lemuria, I thought I could help. Now, I will say this is a very early look, so I don't know, maybe this is subject to change, especially like some of these things I think they will change, but they all seem to be very decent upgrades. I'm gonna compare all the Lemuria gear to dragoon gear because I think that's the best thing to compare it to. I still think dragoon gear is very good in this game right now. So let's look at it. Level 150 gear versus level 130 dragoon gear. Let's see how good it is. So just as a quick disclaimer, I technically don't have all the best gear, but I can tell you what the gear will be. There's two tiers of it that we care about here. There's the malevolent and there is the merciless. Now the merciless gear is better. It's like literally the best version, but since I don't have every bit of merciless gear, we're gonna use a malevolent gear to kind of, it gives you a good idea. It gives you a good idea. You'll see. Let's start with the hats. So the hats are basically very good compared to the dragoon hat, for example. So when we're comparing the storm dragoon hat to the merciless storm cap, what are you looking at? You're looking at extra pip chance, very notably 5 extra shad chance, which I think is really powerful. You're also looking at a decent bit of a pierce upgrade and a damage upgrade. Now, the only thing that I will say, the guiding light doesn't really make that much sense to me, but I guess you could make the argument that it's decent because, like, let's say that you were to put it on, right? You could maybe use it for a blade-oriented conditional, and a guiding light, you're not really ever going to use it as a storm, so maybe this could be good. And obviously, there is a new healing current, so maybe, I don't know, if people are running it, maybe this could be a good idea. The hat doesn't give resist, so I'm not sure how good healing is with it. And the other gear is very similar. So the merciless ice cap, very similar, very high damage, a little bit of a pierce and pip chance upgrade. It gives 2 1-pip snowdrifts, which I do think is really good. I honestly think the dragoon hat is actually pretty damn good for ice. I actually think this is really nice. I don't know of too many other pieces of gear that are very viable in PP that can give 1-pip snowdrifts and multiple copies of it. When you're looking at the new Brûlé Sucré card for life, you're looking at Availing Hands, you're even maybe looking at heal-oriented strategies on other schools, right? Like, this is a very good way to get that heal out of there, and benefit is nice. I actually think, out of all the cards, this one might be the most useful. Fire Hat gives 2 steel charms. It is a very powerful piece of gear. We're looking at 33 damage, which is much more than usual, 19% shad chance, 774 HP. This hat is... It's incredible, my man. This is a huge damage upgrade. The utility isn't even bad. I would say that, again, this is like a very good hat, especially if you have a 3-piece dragoon and you want to just have a good glass cannon hat. It's really good. I actually really like the depth one. It's, again, high damage, high shad chance, 19%, 19 shads seems to be, like, you know, the go-to. But in this case, it actually gives 2 poisons, which, I mean, in PvP, I think it's really good. I think this is one of the most used cards ever, but very often you end up putting it in your TCs. And yes, these are good when you put a bunch in your TCs, but it's nice to just have another one in your main deck so you can avoid a little bit of deck clutter every now and then. Now, the life one is really interesting because I think it's supposed to give empowerment, and this is the malevolent one, so I assume it'll give 2 copies if you get the merciless one. Again, a very nice glass cannon hat. This might actually be very useful. I'm not really sure how good the empowerment is. I mean, technically, you are going to heal yourself, I would assume, with things that are more than 4 pips, and you can gain a pip off of it. And finally, the balance one gives donate power, which is also, I would say, decent. The only thing I have to say is that it's a 3-pip donate power that gives 3 pips to target. It's not the audited version of this. I assume they're gonna fix it, but again, it's, you know, if you pip, I think what it is right now is you give up a pip to gain 2, but you have to pip conserve if you're using a power pip on it. Otherwise, you're doing nothing with that turn. So it has a little bit of a trade-off. I don't know. I don't think it's a great spell, but, you know, if you're going glass cannon on a balance, why not have this? Now the robes, I tell you, they're kind of lit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Again, when we're comparing the gear, right? Like, let's say that we compare something like the dragoon gear to this, you see a very big difference. You see definitely more resist. You'll always see pip chance. You'll honestly see a lot more shad chance, almost to the point where if you start combining all the merciless gear, you're gonna start outshading your opponents easily. Now, each of these, basically the new cloaks, they give one new card, and all the cards right now, I think they're bugged because they're 14 pips, but they're all the companion cards that you get when you fight with one of these companions in Lemuria. So right now, most of them say 14 pips and most of them say no PvP. Like, this would be a really cool card in PvP. I'm not sure if we'll see it in PvP. For example, this one literally can turn a frenzy into a rage, is what I've heard. So basically, if you have a frenzy on you and you cast this, it becomes a rage. And what a rage aura does, it's 4 rounds where you get 40% outgoing and double pip gain. So like, if this was in PvP, it would be crazy, but again, if it's for 14 pips, not crazy. So who knows what these cards will do. Just to go through all of them, I mean, you know, they're all various versions of the heroes that we meet in Lemuria. This one is a double pip gain aura one. This one is a double detonate. It destroys in overtime and then it does the double damage on it, which I think is kind of cool. And this one is like a Mockenspiel type effect. I guess if you happen to have an extra blade on you, you can use it and then convert the blade to 50% of its original value. And finally, the life one, it seems to be a very team-oriented card where it just does a bunch of damage to somebody, I guess, and then you get a pip for everybody. So obviously, some of these, even if you use the audit rules, there's no way they're 14 pips. So I assume it is bugged, and we don't know what these will be in PvP. Maybe they'll be in PvP. I think some of them are a little broken. For example, the balance one, I think an aura that gives you double pip gain could be very broken, but who knows? I mean, we could see it being in the game. As far as what the actual stats are, they all seem to be, once again, slight upgrades, but I think the big upgrades are definitely in Shad Chance and Resist. I think those are the ones you're gonna feel quite a bit. Now, I think we're reaching my favorite upgrade. This is actually kind of lit. So let's take the Merciless version of the Storm Boots and compare them to Dragoons. You'll see why this is actually kind of crazy. So, what these boots give you is 3 more Shad Chance, 4 more damage. They give you a little bit more pip chance. And what I really, really like about it is that, like, let's say that you're obsessed about this Dragoon robe, Dragoon hat, whatever combo that you need for your 3-piece Dragoon set. Honestly, these boots themselves already make up for it. It brings me to the point that I think full Merciless gear will literally be better than Dragoon gear. It is enough of an upgrade where you will get more shads, you'll have quite a bit more damage. You can easily just use the new robe and the new boots, and you're looking at way more shad rating than usual. The Merciless fire boots literally give 40 damage on the boots, and they give just as much pip chance, if not more. They give more shad chance. This is like literally absolutely insane. Like literally 40 ass damage is gonna be game changing. You don't need Dragoon boots anymore. The Myth one gives a bronze armor card, which I thought was cool that they threw it in there. I don't know, maybe that'll be actually good if you happen to get it. And again, it's very high damage. It'll have 36 damage, 15 shad chance. That's what the Merciless version of these will have. Ice ones randomly give a triage, but again, like these, it's gonna have 33 damage and 15 resist on a pair of boots. Now, I will say this, I think the Uber boots are really nice for their 6-round brace that gives a 25% deduction. I still think that might actually be a little bit better. So we might see a lot of Ice Wizards not go with the Merciless boots, and they might get out-shatted more as a trade-off for that brace. So there's now trade-offs for the Uber gear that is good. The Death ones are going to give a brace, which is kind of nice. Just a normal brace, you know, 35 damage, 15 shad chance. Again, a very nice upgrade from Dragoon gear, especially when you're looking at the damage and the shad chance combined. And finally, the Balance ones. Again, an insane amount. 35 damage and 15 shad chance is what we can expect. And they give a very utility-oriented card, which is a Balance Prism. You get two different, you know, shots at it. You get a Balance Prism that goes into Spirit, and that another one that goes into Elemental. We might actually see Balance Prism strategies where you don't have to give up stats to do it, which is currently the only way to do it. So maybe this could be a part of the meta. This could actually be one of the most underrated card picks for Balance that could actually have real ass consequences. Now, the Merciless Wands are just direct upgrades to Uber Wands. They just give a little bit more shad chance, a little bit more damage, and a little bit more pip conserve. As someone who does a lot of PvP, I don't really like the Merciless Wands. I want Pierce. I honestly think Pierce is good in PvE too. I'm just gonna be honest. So this is a little disappointing, I would have to say. Like, right, when you compare it to the Executive one, yes, you get a little bit more damage. The pip conserve is not bad, but most schools are not gonna be giving up Pierce for pip conserve. And I wish that we had a same school want it where we did have pip conserve. I would be totally willing to give up crit for Pierce, but it does not seem to be what they're doing with these wands. But yeah, I mean, nothing really to see here, if I'm being honest. I mean, yeah, you get a little bit more shad chance. Yeah, you get a little bit more damage, whatever. It's a slight upgrade. There are upgraded Executive wands as well, so if you're more of a Pierce-oriented guy, You know, executive insulated meter, sure, it's good. You'll get a slight upgrade at level 142. In the bazaar, you can literally find it. Now, the Merciless of Thames are absolutely nuts because they give you a huge health buff. They give you a little bit of a block, and they obviously give you the thing that everyone seeks. They give you that a little bit extra damage. Now, this is actually a comparison to the Uber Thame, but let's say that I were to if I were to put on the Dragoon, you'll see the difference. I mean, the 3 extra damage is actually, it starts to get into like actual like reasonable change. Is another example of if you had Merciless gear, you don't have to worry about the Dragoon bonus unless you really need that pip conserve. So if you're willing to give up pip conserve, there's no reason not to go for full Merciless gear. You'll have full accuracy, you'll have much more damage. The Merciless Fire Theme gives the record-breaking 22% damage, which is extremely high. And I mean, all of them are really good. I mean, like, the balance one, 19, the depth one gives 19, the ice one gives 18, which is like, I mean, literally, if you compare it to the Dragoon Storm one, it's already more. So it's a little bit of a power creep situation. But if everybody has these, then, you know, you'll see very similar differences. It's just you'll have every school doing a little bit more damage. I really wish I had the life one because I just want to see the health differences. I've heard that life is going to have more HP, and you might actually have already noticed that. When you compare the Malevolent Life Cap to the Malevolent Ice Cap, you actually see a difference of almost 100 HP, which you'll notice, but you'll probably notice it even more when you look at the Merciless gear. So yes, there is going to be way more HP for life than even now. And now finally, the amulets. These are really cool. So they're direct upgrades to Uber amulets. They give 2 square sockets and a tier. They give more health and more block. And I think the same amount of resist as we currently have on the Uber amulets. But they all seem to give a card, an item card from a pack. So the life one is Camp Bandit. The Storm one is Berry Surprise, which if you look at the item card, it's actually not bad at all. The Ice one is Celestial Intervention. Again, like a very upgraded version of Celestial Intervention, I should add. Like, it's guaranteed a tier 2. So it's actually not even a tier 1. It's actually a tier 2 spell, which means it's the equivalent of you actually buying enough packs to have not just 35 small but another 70 on top of that. I think the Myth one's my favorite. It gives the new Splash Squatch spell, which is actually very high damage. I mean, yes, obviously the real spell would be better for the enchanting. Like, if you had this and you enchanted it, it would be a totally different story, but it is a nice finisher to have. And compared to Dragoon amulets, you might not be giving up as much in terms of an extra hit in your deck, so this is actually pretty nice. The Death one gives a whole ship of fools, and the Balance one gives a spiritual tribunal, which again, I really like what they did here. I mean, these are literally spells that some people will never get because they refuse to give us droppable spellments, but at least we have a taste of it. And you know what? That's honestly, that's a start, if anything. The rings are butt cheeks. I don't know what to say, man. They give low HP. I don't get these, man. Like, even the Merciless Storm one, like, it's not as good as things that we've seen. I don't know why it's so bad compared to things that we've seen, but I don't know, maybe this is like the best way to get high damage as a new setup. Maybe it is good. I don't know. From what I've seen, it doesn't really seem that good at all. Maybe there will be auctionable rings, because I believe the best damage ring is like the director's ring for Storm or something like that. It's not the Uber ring as far as I know. But yeah, guys, that's as complete of a gear guide as I could give you. Clearly, we're seeing many good pieces of gear. We're seeing hats that give way more damage than Shat Chance. We're seeing robes that might actually give really cool item cards that we've never actually seen before, so that's really cool. And again, they're very tank oriented, which I like the Shat Chance on it too. The boots all give very helpful utilities, I think, almost for every school except maybe Storm. But again, the damage of the Shat Chance, it's very nice. And the amulets give us a taste of what, you know, it might actually feel like to have some of these spells we only see gatekeeped behind packs. Overall, a very good update. I do hope that they consider adding gear sets. I think a lot of people want this. Listen, I get it. You know, it is better than a gear set of Dragoons. If your goal was to make better gear, I think they've done it. But I don't know. I feel like for me to really want it, I would like a gear set where I could maybe even try to combine elements of Dragoon with elements of Merciless gear and really make a dope setup. But yeah, guys, that's what we know so far about the gear in Lemuria. Definitely worth chasing after. I will say this, and I assume we'll be able to craft them, but the bosses that drop them are very hard. So I like that there's a challenge to get gear that is this powerful. Let me know what you guys think of the new gear. Is it to your expectations? Do you want more? I'm sure they're still open to feedback, so you should leave all your feedback in the comments. I know for a fact that the devs are going to watch this video and read those comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave us something for you, and as always, if somebody has not told you you're awesome today, they doing something right, I look forward to reading y'all's comments, man, and stay awesome. And yeah, y'all.